as mompreneurs who are
Mm.
already in business, already taking care of the household, already doing all the things, you need to be using Chat GPT like your virtual assistant. Honestly, we have so much on our plates already. And so really honing in and using this resource will really change your lives for the better, in my opinion.
Hello, welcome to Monetizing Mompreneurs podcast, where I take you behind the scenes with industry leaders, entrepreneurs, moms, working professionals, and amazing people pursuing their passions and going for their dreams. And I'm your host, Linda Mendable. All right, I am so excited for today's training. Welcome to Monetizing Mompreneurs. There's also a link that you can join us if you have any questions for Alexys or me. And I hope I'm not butchering your name.
No, that's perfect. That's it.
Okay, wonderful. Alexys, can you tell me a little bit about you? Tell us a little bit about you and what you do.
Yes, of course. Okay, my name is Alexys Robbs, and I own Balance Branding, and I specialize in helping solopreneurs get their branding together, get their brand messaging together. I do VIP days where we can either go through kind of getting started and working through that part of your brand, or restarting or revamping a service or product. I also offer website VIP days where we kind of go through and get rid of old stuff and add in new stuff. And I also do a big VIP day called a brand new day, a little play on brand, where we bring in a photographer, a videographer, and we get new content that's fresh and really professional for people who are ready to level up in business. And then my new service that I'm offering is this Chat GPT. I'm offering workshops for groups and also one-on-one sessions for small business owners to learn how they can use this really powerful tool to advance their business.
Amen. So I absolutely love that I connected with you. We kind of do almost like the same thing.
I was thinking that.
Yeah, I'm a web designer. I'm a brand strategist and a web designer, and also brand photography.
Ooh.
I believe in community over competition any day.
Sure.
And I absolutely want to glean and learn from others. And that's what we're about here in Monetizing Mompreneurs. And when you told me because I was asking in the group, who knows how to use Chat GPT? Because I honestly feel for some reason that it is a necessity. And you were telling me how, your beliefs in it. So what were you saying about it?
So I really do believe that if we don't learn how to use Chat GPT now, we are going to be at a very serious disadvantage in the very near future. It is my belief that corporations and companies are already using this software and others like it to make very big moves. I believe that people will be moving out of jobs because of what this software can do, or that their jobs will be changing and the jobs will be requiring that they need to know how to use this information. And so I don't think that it's something trendy. I think it's basically the next Google, in my opinion.
Yeah. I like how you said that, the next Google. I am in agreement with you on that because, it saves you time and it saves you money.
Right.
So anything that saves you time and money, usually it's not going to be trending. It's going to be something that's going to blow up.
Right.
With other things that take more of your time, they can kind of it could be a trend. And so that's how you can differentiate the two. Is how do you know if something is trending or something is going to be for the long haul? It's that saving time or saving money. And Chat GPT is doing that.
Yes, it does both. And so I feel like this is not a wave people, especially women entrepreneurs, this is not a wave we need to be behind. We need to be on top of this. We need to be at the forefront of it. And as mompreneurs who are already in business, already taking care of the household, already doing all the things, you need to be using Chat GPT like your virtual assistant.
Absolutely.
I mean, honestly, we have so much on our plates already. And so really honing in and using this resource will really change your lives for the better, in my
opinion. I think so too. I was on the fence about it. And that's one of the reasons, I just saw that, I saw that it was blowing up. I saw a lot of people jumping on board. And before with Clubhouse, I did go on that. I know we were talking about Vine And like you didn't really
Yes.
go on that. I don't even remember Vine.
Right, right.
So there are things that trends, like there that we sometimes can hop on. I do think Clubhouse is changing though, because now there's different things on the way that you can use it and can like stream on Clubhouse and also stream, online when you're doing lives. It's like right now we could have done a stream on live and had Clubhouse, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So Clubhouse is definitely changing because it's also saving it. And there's different tools that you can stream into both. But I do remember that I did jump on that trend and I was like, oh my gosh. And I hopped right off. But
Right.
it's not something that, it just amplifies your message. Chat GPT does a whole lot different. So tell us a little bit about what Chat GPT does.
So one, Chat GPT is a language model, is what they call it. It's what it calls itself. It's a language model AI. And so you get to, which is artificial intelligence, you get to ask it questions, which I'll call prompts from here on out, but you get to ask it questions and it will respond to you. And the way you ask your question will determine your responses, basically. And so I feel like if you think about how you might ask Google a question and it gives you 15,000 articles, Chat GPT could give you the summary basically of those 15,000 articles. And then the way you ask your questions, again, determines the response. So for business owners, you can ask a question in a way that would get you a very in-depth response, or you could say, I need a 15-word synopsis of what this is. And so I know a lot of people have been using it to summarize books, especially like self-help books. They use it for all kinds of things. So instead of them going through and reading this information, they're getting the Cliff Notes version, able to digest that information and do with it what they need to at a much quicker pace.
I
And
do
then
think it's a little bit intimidating,
right.
I'm always like, I do kind of like consider things, I try to sit still with things. And this one, I do feel like there's a creative aspect to it that you can really enjoy using it. And
Yes.
so in your trainings, let's go through like just the nitty gritty of it. Like what would
Yes.
be our first step and then you can go and dive deeper when taking us through the
Yes.
steps.
So for me, the first step is, what do you need from it? Right. And so if I am like me, I'm a business owner, and I help other business owners, right? So if it's me being stuck with an idea, right, or if I need an outline, or if I need product information or something like that, depending on what I need is what I ask for. And so that gets into the prompts. So the first thing is determining, what do I need right now from this? And so some of that might have to do a little brainstorming beforehand. So if I'm working with a client and they are developing a new product and they want to figure out where that product might need to come from, or they want to figure out who they want to market that product to, you can ask Chat GPT, hey, how can I get started in this regard? And it'll give you a list of steps. It can give you a list of steps. It can give you a list of resources. I'll give an example. So I am on my family's board for a nonprofit organization. Every year we do what's called a sneakers ball. And so people get dressed up and they wear their gowns and they put on their sneakers, but we also are using it as a drive for people to bring in sneakers. And so we need sponsorships, we need partnerships, all this stuff. And so every year I'm the one out here helping create these documents. And instead of me having to reformat, I said, hey, Chat GPT, could you look at this document and make it more compelling? This is the information that I have. Can you make it more compelling? And so if it's something like a revision, revisions are great because, again, if you think about the time you don't have, I do not have the time to sit and revise 3-4 documents that this AI can now do for me in literally 2-3 seconds. I can copy and paste an entire letter and it'll reformat it for me or add in a couple of things depending on what I ask for. If I'm asking for a strategy, and we know about strategies all the time, hey, what would be a good way for me to do this? Something specific, like I would like to market this new soft drink to these group of people. You can ask for that. So these are huge, huge things that it can help you with, but you have to first know, what do you need? So the first step is, what do I need and how can it help me? And nothing is too big or too small. You just have to figure out how you can ask it as a question.
We have Nicole in the chat and she says, I love that. I hate revising documents. I'll be stuff looking over something 2 or 3 times. I'm thinking I'll be looking over stuff 2 or 3 times. Yeah.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know, so I can understand that. I do love what you said, that Chat GPT can be used almost like a Google, right?
Yes. Yes.
So what did you say? It's a Google for
It's a
what?
Google for anything. I'm not I'm not overselling here, right? I want you
Yeah.
to understand that's kind of how it can feel overwhelming, because it's
Yes.
like, it can do what? It's a Google for anything. If you
Okay.
want
So
to
it works
find
like
out,
Google.
it
So it
works
works
like
like a
Google.
Google,
Yeah.
but gives you more profound things,
Yes,
right?
and it's
A little bit more profound
conversational. And the piece that
conversation.
I think is the best part about it is that you can add on. So if I say, I'd like to revise this document, and then they give me a revision, I read through it, and I say, that was a little lengthy. Could you please reduce that some,
I
make
love
that
this
more?
because I will be honest, like I've been like, when it comes to client work, I can like knock out sales pages, I can knock out their
Yes,
content, I can tell them that
yes,
is this copy
preach
and pull
from.
things out,
Mhm.
right? But when it personally comes to me and
Talk
my
about
stuff,
it. Talk about it.
yeah,
If you go to my
I
page, if you go to my page right now, if you go to any of my social media pages, you'll be like, okay, you see that she's working, but you do not see that she's working, because I'm out here doing all kinds of stuff for other people. But I have been using Chat GPT. One, I went through and was like, hey, let's edit some website copy, right? And then I'm in the middle of building out some new social media things. And so I'm I am just the same way when it comes to, I can do so much for other people, but like I said in the beginning, using Chat GPT like your virtual assistant or your personal assistant, um, you can teach it your
I
tone.
wouldn't I wouldn't even know where to start with using it as a virtual assistant. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I did start with, like, I remember I was having very like a almost like, everyone has their creative blocks. You can get writer's
Yes,
block,
yes,
designer's block,
for
right? We all have
sure.
like that block. And sometimes we just need something to get us over that hump. And for
Mm-hmm.
me, it was one of my memberships that I'm creating. And I needed, like, I was like, why is it so hard for me to build my own sales page when I built plenty of them for clients, right? And honestly, I was like, hey, I put in like what I had and like, can you
Yes,
put it into a sales page? And it
yes,
did. And it allowed me, I didn't use like word verbatim,
right.
because I wanted to have my spin, I wanted to have my talk and my copy, but it did allow me to get out of my block, right? It did allow me to push forward and
Yes,
start like putting the pieces a little bit more like in tune and in alignment with what I wanted to articulate, right? So I
absolutely.
do love the fact, I love how you said it's like a Google. It makes it less intimidating, because when we think of like, oh, it's artificial intelligence, it's
Mm-hmm.
not like, we're already thinking about movies, scary movies,
Right, right.
world.
And you'll see if people are talking all over about Chat GPT, and oh, it can figure out a puzzle and it'll lie to get what it wants, and it can do all this stuff. And okay, some people are absolutely going to use this tool for deceptive purposes. That's not my business though. Okay, we have to focus on what is our business. And so sure, just like sometimes people use money to do things that they're not supposed to do, but we need to focus on our bag,
Yeah,
right?
like
So this is one of
one of
those
the
things where,
like I sat down with one of my clients, and I sat down with her and we went over one of her blog posts that she
Mhm.
had, that she actually used Chat GPT to help her kind of write it out.
Right.
And it did have missing aspects for what I know makes a
Mhm.
blog post like content convert and actually have
Yes.
people reaching out, because I've done it before. I've done it time and time again when
Right.
it comes to blogging. And, I just saw like there were those missing pieces, right? Like it can
Mhm.
give you a great outline, but don't forget,
Yes.
like I feel like telling people like, don't forget to add the human aspects of it and what makes you you, because that actually differentiates you from everyone else. Because
and so also, when we're talking about kind of those human aspects, when you are asking Chat GPT for something, this is what I'm talking about with the prompts. Your prompt matters so much. So beyond, if you need to use it to help you create content like blog posts or social media content, you also need to tell it who you are and your personality. And so if you don't know who you are and your personality, you kind of need to come up with that. Like me, I might say I'm a straight shooter, or I am pretty concise. I'm not very wordy. I like to kind of get to the point. And I also can be funny, or have Southern charm, or I might like a little tongue in cheek when I'm writing something, right? Maybe a little sarcasm in there. You can ask for it to have these personality traits embedded in your stuff. And so that kind of helps even more get you closer to your own voice when you're creating these documents. And so if I ask for social media content and I say, oh, I need this sort of thing, you can ask for it to kind of give you a little bit more personality. That sounded a little dry. That's the best part. It's conversational. That sounded a little too void of whatever it is you're looking for, and ask for it to update it.
But I think it's I like I said, I keep going back to that Google thing because
Yes.
I'm looking for a way. How can I make this like? Can I use Chat GPT? Is this going to take away from the human aspect? Because I really believe like our dollars and our time, are powerful, and where we put our time and our money at, it's we're telling the market what it is that we're desiring.
Right.
People, right? And so I'm like really careful when it comes to investing in certain tools, right? Like I know I didn't really get into Bitcoin because like, but I don't know. I hear people are doing great with that. I don't know.
It kind of goes up and down, right? So,
but when it comes with Chat GPT, I want to kind of like paint this picture of like, as designers, we use Canva, we use Adobe, we use Illustrator. I mean, we use all these different types of apps that instead of pen and paper, right? It's like almost the artist, right? You're a pencil and paper artist. It doesn't take away from your art, even if you decide to continue as being a pen and paper artist, right? Because there's people that they'll do a contraption in the air, they'll put some paint that drips, they'll spin that thing, and they'll create their masterpiece, right?
So I have a friend.
There's graphic designers, right? That does everything in digital computer. Does that take away from their art? And that's what we have to question. Like, is that taking away from people's art? And I don't think it is. I think it's like you've said, it's a tool that we can learn to really.
I also believe people are going to abuse the tool, right? Some people out here are not artists. Some people out here are, I won't say frauds, but I'll say they have no intention on being authentic. They have no intention on being real. Their intention is to make money, right? And so some people are going to fall for those folks, and they're going to be like, oh, that looked cool, and then they paid them and they didn't get what they're looking for. And so I think it's just important for us to not let people who have these tools, who do not care about their customer, they do not care about how they come across and how they connect with them, and them getting an actual authentic experience. It's not fair for us to let them run rampant and we not show up. And because they're using these tools, they're getting further ahead, and we're sitting here trying to be authentic and making sure we're not using our tools properly, and we have something and we actually care about our customers, and we can't get out there in front of them.
So we have a few drops in the comment, and we have Aquila that says, my hubby used Chat GPT for everything. LOL. She also says, I've just started dabbling with it. Awesome. I think this is going to be a really good episode for you guys, a really good live training, because Alexys is actually going to take us through a live training with it in a couple of minutes. Jude says, is there a way you can train it to know to use your style every time, rather than telling it every time what style you write in?
So
Ooh.
I have not figured out how to get it to know that, hey, it's me every time. I am sure that it's something that could be like coded in sort of thing. I just haven't gotten there yet. So what I do is I save a prompt that describes who I am. And so I'll put that over in like a Google Doc or something like that. And so this is my, hey, this is me, this is my tone. And so then before I start a new ask, I'll say, use that tone, please. Or if it's something like I'm doing a running list of content, instead of me starting a new page, I'll ask it in the same chat.
That's good. So yeah, so you always, like, one of the things when you're a speaker, when you're a web designer, because you gotta, like, I have to like copy code, save the code if I'm changing
Mhm.
something different of the code. Or if you're a speaker, you gotta save those stories, those powerful stories in your back pocket to bring them back out
Yes.
in the time that you need them. So always have a swipe file with your items. Have it
Mhm.
wherever you're doing your work or whatever, title
Yes.
it the right way, and have your swipe files that you can pull from. So the same
And
way
if you were
chat.
like me, I have not used the paid version of Chat GPT yet, right? I'm still using the free one. Okay. And so the free one will go down every once in a while when too many people are on, or if they're doing an update or something like that. So it's really important that you, if you find something that you liked, copy and save it in a separate file. Don't log out and then come back in the next day, because sometimes things go missing. And again, it's a free service. And so I've not upgraded to GPT-4, which I know does new things, but even the basic version of Chat GPT as it is right now, just copy and paste your stuff. I would say save your things as often as you like it, save it somewhere else besides in the Chat GPT server.
Yeah, amen. Okay, so take us through using it with Canva.
Okay, so as a person who does branding, right, I help clients all the time, kind of like you said, I'm stuck in my own head about my own business, right? And so if we are identifying who our target market is, and we have identified them, and we say, I want to use Chat GPT to make sure I'm reaching them, right? You can ask Chat GPT, what imagery should I use? You can ask ChatGPT to give you a 30-second video clip, so video script, so you can make a reel or something like that. And so then all of these wonderful things you can import into Canva, which is huge. Also, there's a bulk create feature that you can use in Canva that requires a couple of additional steps, but it's very helpful if you're into that sort of thing about making content that matches, which matters more, I think, for like Instagram, that grid, trying to get your grid right. So you can go inside of ChatGPT and ask for content ideas. A tool that I really like inside of there is asking for like alliteration. People sometimes remember things if you say, I want 3 C's about the essence of copywriting. And it'll give you 3 C's. And then you can convert that into a social media post on Canva or in Canva. And then having templates, story templates, Instagram, Facebook templates already built inside of Canva are time savers, and they help you make sure that you're staying on brand, which I think is huge as any type of brand. I feel like you need to have your brand colors, you need to have your imagery. If you know who you're talking to, you need to be looking for them inside of Canva. Now, while I don't use the paid version of ChatGPT, I believe in the paid version of Canva. It's the best $12.99 you'll spend every month. Okay. The
It is the
images.
best. It's, oh my gosh. And Adobe, because I use, as a photographer, I do use Lightroom, you
Yes.
know, but I'm not photographing every single week. I only do, certain projects here and there, projects that I really
Yes.
absolutely want to do. But that's like $60 a month just to use these tools. Because, they give you a couple of things. And Adobe is like, in the beginning, before Canva, I did dabble in Adobe, and Canva is so user friendly.
So user friendly.
So
So
user friendly.
I I am what we call a serial creative, right? So I used to be a cosmetologist. I have dibbled and dabbled with photography and videography. I called myself a photographer for a long time because I would take pictures and videos on my cell phone for clients that they could use and that sort of thing. And I had the Adobe suite, and I was like this is quite pricey. Let me look into something else or comparable. And that's how I got over to Canva and really started playing with it. Before I had Canva, I had something called PicMonkey. And PicMonkey is like a throwback tool, but PicMonkey was like a starter Canva. Canva came over and took over the game.
A lot of bloggers are doing the Blog Smash or something like that and PicMonkey.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and but when Canva came out, it was just like,
yeah. And so I was, again,
incredible.
I told you, I'm slow on trends, right? So people were talking about Canva. I got on there and was playing around a few years ago, and I was not impressed because my photo quality when I downloaded it wasn't what I wanted it to be. I was like, that looks pixelated once it puts up there. Anything that grinds my gears is pixelated flyers and posters. Does not make me happy. So after coming back to Canva and learning a little bit more about it, I was able to figure out why that stuff would pixelate when you download it. And so I was like, okay, we're here now. And so I've been able to even make very large items in Canva that I didn't think would be able to work. But I've been very pleased with kind of using that tool and even just the convenience of it. Honestly, it's hard to beat. So while we have the Adobe suites and that sort of thing, the convenience of Canva is not, we can't even overlook it.
And one of the things,
it integrates so well.
It's necessary. It's necessary. In today's market, like, you know, I did a blog post, I think an episode on like what apps to use that are under $100. I really believe if you're going to be an entrepreneur, at least to spend $100 a month on your business. Like, let that be your overhead that you're just investing in the tools that you need, like the email service provider, your graphic design, which is the Canva tool, and then a membership or course platform that allows you to sell. You know, that could be WooCommerce, which is very, you know, not that expensive. But then you go into other carts that are very expensive, like SamCart, you know, or like Kajabi, you know, or MemberVault, which used to be affordable, is now like $99 a month. But I love ThriveCart.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. And what do you use?
So I have not sold any courses that people can come back and get into just yet, because I'm kind of doing some pivoting from where I started. Where I started, I was taking retainer clients only, and so now that I've kind of switched that up, I haven't decided where I'm going to land yet. But one of my big tools that I believe in is a CRM or a customer relationship manager, and for that I use HoneyBook.
Yes, absolutely. I use the Dubsado. You need that, because if you're going to be having clients or even working with brands, because they're also clients, you know, you need a place you have your invoices, you know, and you can flip flop too, when you have like carts like, you know, like ThriveCart. You can actually invoice clients with your ThriveCart if you have them log into a portal and you want them to go, like, let's say you have like a process or you want something that they need to do, you know, with your, you know, that you want to integrate it, you know, that's another way that people can pay you.
Another one I use is ConvertKit. Yeah, ConvertKit it's really good for my email list, and I can sell like
I recommend
the one-on-one workshops that I do. If people wanted to, like, they did my big workshop where I'm kind of talking in general terms, so they wanted to kind of zone in and kind of really knock out a product or something with Chat GPT. I do a one-on-one and we kind of work through that and kind of teach them a process so they can duplicate it on their own. So I can sell that in there. I like that as well. ConvertKit.
I mean, ConvertKit. I use Flowdesk. I'm going to be transitioning out of Flowdesk into ConvertKit because it integrates well with MemberVault. And MemberVault, what I like about MemberVault, if you're looking into kind of like where you're going to host your courses, the reason why I like it is, one, I saw more conversion rates with people taking my MemberVault. I can see drop-offs. I can see how many clients are active, you know, in my MemberVault, and I could gamify it, right? Gamification. So if, let's say, they complete a module, I can trigger it to send from ConvertKit. You can also zap it, but why do that, right? But I can trigger it to send from ConvertKit and send them an email or unlock another module or another product that make them more engaged, right?
Yeah.
It makes them want to, complete what, because that's what you want to do. You want to have people complete your courses and things that you're doing. But let's go into the training. So you're going to take us through a live training, because I'm going to do a little bit of a training so people can get a framework of how they can utilize Canva, and then you're going to do the content portion. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen, and I'm doing a new thing, and I am creating the grid, but I'm creating the grid in a new way that is kind of like looped. So I can do carousels, so I can do reels and everything like that, but it be looped, that it looks the same. So this is one of the designs that I did on the grid. So what you want to do is you want to go into file, and you want to create something that is like 32 by 40, because each of these little squares are 1080. And if you times it by 3, you get 32 by 40. You want to make sure that you have your grid lines, and all of that. And then I decided I used 2 types of templates for this one that is free in Canva, and I meshed it and I put it in a way that is interchangeable. So if you see this, right, this is kind of like the layout, then it's going to next week. So basically, if I go here, this is the recurring one. Wait, if I go to one of my, because I'm testing it out, I'm like, okay, is the design complete? So the whole feed will look like that. So every time I post, I'm posting 1 week, one of those grids, because I post on Mondays my podcast, and then on Fridays I'm going to be posting my blog. And this pretty much, and then I have also items in my shop that I like to sell and want to bring more, vision to, right? So these are just little spaces. So what I did is I did my grid layout, right? So all of this is interchangeable. I can like customize it. I did a few, samples of what I like and everything like that. I know it looks busy here, but it's not really that busy when you put it in Instagram. So I'll show you kind of like how it looks on Monetizing Mompreneurs' new grid look. And we're going to go quickly because you're going to take us through the content. So we're going to take that, right? So I'll show you how it works. So I'm going to go to Monetizing Mompreneurs. And for Monetizing Mompreneurs, the strategy that I have is, so this is how it looks here, right? It doesn't look so busy. If people are looking for like our future membership, they want to know more about the podcast, right? And then my VIP days and stuff like that. This is all for the podcast. And in my own, I've decided to be more in depth because I really want to grow my particular one. The Monetizing Mompreneurs, let's just say people just want to know when there's a drop of an episode. So I'm just focusing on the reels, right? Just the podcast. But in mine, I go more in depth with more strategy, more items like that. And so I've already started, I played around, so I already started like posting how I want to post. So these are the pin ones that is always going to stay on the top, right? So I did my grid, right? And basically all of these, like if I take them off, I pretty much downloaded the grid, right? And, now I can see what I'm going to be posting. So for instance, these top 3 is going to be what I'm going to pin in the top. So they're going to stay static, right? It's about me, like who I'm about. It's going to be my shop because, I'm selling things at the shop. And it's going to be the podcast. Those are my 3. So they're already all lined. So now when I start posting, if I posted about the podcast, look at how they mesh well together. If I posted, then I want to do the next one would be, it would be like a tutorial. Like let's say I wanted to do a tutorial with a swipe right or anything like that. I can easily use like boom, Canva tutorial. It meshes well with all of that. And then, if I'm like a reel. So they all integrate. And even if I put the other one in the bottom, which is this one, which is a swipe file, like it'll be interchangeable, And so I can continue to add and add and add, and it'll just look like one long design feed. focused on reels, carousels, because I can have that as the top of the carousels and stuff like that. But it can all like integrate with each other. So the final design would be something like this, and just continue to be like that. And I can change these images in the original, which is just this one. But they all, the whole layout is pretty much the same. It's kind of like going into a checkboard pattern. But anyways, the way that it goes is my podcast drop, a reel, something I'm selling, a reel, a carousel, a reel, and then that's how it would continue to go. Like podcast drop, carousel, reel, all of that. So that would be the continuation of that. Always, either services or shop, or at the shop, and I can easily change the images if I'm doing a particular reel or stuff like that. So that's the goal. So I want to go with my shop, right? I want to do carousel, and I want to do my podcast, and I want to figure out the strategy on that, the best way to approach it, but in that thing. So how would you use Chat GPT? I know this is a crazy question. How would you use Chat GPT to make that happen? And you will be seeing me play it out on my social media. So follow me on how this plays out on my social media. It's pretty much interchangeable on all of those. I know it doesn't look like, but it is. And I'll be doing a future tutorial on how you can make your own grid. But right now we're doing content with Chat GPT. So my goal is I have 2 core posts that go to my website. And then the other ones is just to make sure that, like I'm doing a reel. Take us through that Chat GPT.
Okay, so you could say in here, and it kind of depends on what you're looking for. Are you looking for content ideas, or were you looking for a posting strategy? Like, what would you be looking for? Because remember, our first step is always, what do we need from Chat GPT?
All right, I like this. Okay, so you're going to be taking me through it. So it wouldn't be the posting strategy, because the grid kind of like outlines the posting strategy. So let's go more with content, like maybe reels. What type of reels would resonate with my ideal customer and client, their mom, right? Mompreneurs.
So we're always going to start off with who you are and what you do, right? So you would say, I'm a business owner. You'd say, I focus on mompreneurs, and I want to create reels for Facebook and Instagram that resonates with them and compels them to want to shop with me. And then what are some of the products that you offer?
So I offer social media strategy. I feel like, man, I'm cheating the game here.
That's one of the beliefs that I talk with people about when I'm doing these classes, right? And so I believe, especially as women of color, we have worked so hard for all of the wins that we've had, right? And so it feels too easy. It feels like I shouldn't be experience this level of ease, right? But that's not true. And we have to disassociate the fact that for us to have something that works well for us, that we have to slave and be burnt out and exhausted and dead on the floor. We don't have to do that. And so we have to, like I said, come into agreement with the fact that it's okay for us to use our tools and do wells, right? So one time people had to tear stuff up by hand, but then somebody invented scissors, right?
I know, right? It's just a new invention. It's just a new tool. Okay,
it's just a new tool. One time we used to have to look inside of the encyclopedia to write a 4th grade paper on bottlenose dolphins. Now we go to Google and ask about bottlenose dolphins. We didn't have to go to the library. We didn't have to learn the Dewey Decimal System. We didn't have to break the book down to find that, right? We were able to hey, I want to know all about bottlenose dolphins, and now that information is at our fingertips. So this is just a new tool, and we're going to use it so we can go be great, because I promise you, somebody else's social media company who is making buku money, okay? They've hired 15 people on staff. They are using this to crank this stuff out. They're cranking out strategies. They're
to
cranking out.
see the leverage, right? I
Yeah.
mean, gotta get in on it.
To stay
You can't get
competitive.
better.
Right. To stay competitive, we have to master these tools. Okay. That's a side note. I'll
Yes,
hop back
it
in
was a
here.
great side note. We need to hear it sometimes. Okay, web design and branding, right? But I am going towards putting together a membership.
Okay.
So, you know, for women that need more content strategy and design, community, you know, get access to, like, you know, what we're doing with our summits. So I don't know if we could add that there.
Right. So that might be another piece, right? So right now you're asking about reels. And so so that's another thing. You might be like, I have all these ideas now bubbling up.
Yeah. I do want to focus on, you know, like building community and a safe space for mompreneurs, because as a mom, we go through different challenges, right? And so in my membership, it's about building a recurring income stream with your tools that, like, let's say you're a service provider, how can you bring in a recurring income stream so you can really scale your business, right? And because that's what's blessed my business. I'm able to have free time with my kids. I'm able to, like, really adjust my time the way that I want to. And, you know, I did have a lot of like imposter syndrome with them. I'm like, shoot, it's working for me. I'm helping other women, you know, with my one-on-one, but I want to, like, give it a chance for other women so they can grow. They can have a different way of growing their business that does not rely on just VIP days or selling courses on one-off basis, but actually developing, you know, something that builds them a recurring income stream. Excuse me. I know that was a lot.
So I'm gonna take some of that and then we'll add in pieces too, right?
Okay.
Help me produce content for 5 reels. Let's talk about your tone, right?
Okay.
So how would you describe your tone?
Goodness. You've been talking to me for the last 30 minutes, girl. How would you describe myself?
So I would say you have a warm tone. My tone is warm. I'd say that maybe you I focus on community, and I'm pro work-life balance.
So when it comes to the reels, so when you're because we're focusing on making the reels, right? We got our strategy set. From what I know about reels, I know what works for my particular, like, whoa, it's already starting?
Yes.
Dang.
Yes, it is. It's already
I thought
started.
it needed more from me.
So this is how it's gonna give you, for reels, it's going to give you ideas, right?
Okay.
And so it's a show off your work-life balance. And so it'll give you some ideas on how to do that. Create a reel that showcase your daily routine, include how you're balancing running your business while taking care of your kids, right? So it's telling you to show up on camera. That's the first thing it's telling you to do. If you're talking about work-life balance, showing off what that looks like, right? The second thing it's saying is share your web design and branding expertise, right? And so create a short tutorial. You're already doing some of that, or how to design a logo, or how to create a website. And so it lets the people know that you know what you're doing. Offer tips, celebrate mompreneurship, and showcase your community, right? So kind of walk people through what that looks like to be inside of your community, what that looks like and the benefits.
Right. And this is good. Okay, go ahead and copy and send it in a Google Doc for me.
I will copy this and send it in a Google Doc for you, but I'll take it one step further and I'll say, can you give me a video script for number 3?
Are you guys seeing this?
And so the reason I wanted to show you this is if you needed an additional step, right? If you wanted to add in, how can we switch this up a little bit so I can even go further than this? Or I can even take this a step further, right? I wanted to show you that you can use this as much as you want, right?
So it remembers the conversation you've had.
That's why that's the part of chat. That's the chat part of the Chat GPT.
Okay.
So that is how we're adding this in. That's why I'm saying it's a language model, and it adds on to what you've already asked.
It even says cut to footage of you responding to comments or creating a poll.
And so it's
It gave
giving,
the whole layout of the reel.
and so things that I have spent hours and, days toiling over coming up with the right thing, I can tweak this to match what I need. Right? It say, let's see what it said.
Hold on. So
it gave you
if
tips.
you're listening to this and you have a question that you want us to ask Chat GPT, like drop it in the chat.
Drop a question.
Jaquila said, this is dope. I am Latina, so I am kind of like putting a little Spanish twang in your name, so I apologize. Tracy says, awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Alexys. People are loving you. Okay, Jaquila says, wait, how did you do that? So please define what that is, so we can be more in tune with your cues. And Jude says, great tip. Also, we have the link to join us live here in the conversation.
Please join us.
Join us. Hop on in and use Chat GPT with an expert. This is your opportunity if you want to do that. So I would take advantage. This is why we have Monetizing Mompreneurs. This is why we have the community. Can I take a clip of this and put it in a reel? No. So let's go. So, well, how would you take this a step further?
So for me, right, I'm going to read through this. And it says, running a business and taking care of your family is hard work. These 3 social media tips will help you grow your business while still having time for what matters most. So we talked a little bit earlier about what it looks like and what it sounds like when it's just like not connecting. For me, I might read that and I'm not necessarily going to connect with this. Like, even though, I know it's hard work. That's true. I don't know if I'd stop though and read this. And so I'd say something like, I'm not really connecting with that caption. Can we emphasize my clients' pain points and create a call to action for them to join my community?
Oh, wow. Struggling to grow your business with juggling motherhood? As a mompreneur, you don't have to do it all. Join our community and get the social media tips and support you need to succeed. Follow us and let's grow together.
Right. And so, again, the prompt matters.
Are you guys sold with that?
The prompt matters. So that connected a little bit more to me, like, girl, especially if it was like on a Tuesday and I need to have dinner on the table, but it's my husband's night to work late and my 4-year-old is bouncing off the wall because he wants me to, and I read this randomly scrolling while I'm looking for a dinner recipe, and I'm like struggling to grow your business while juggling. Yes, I am. Maybe I do need community, right? I would feel a little bit more of a tug from that. And so knowing the prompts to ask and knowing what to ask is huge when it comes to, if you're trying to use this for social media post creation, or even to give you ideas of how to make it sound more like yourself, right? Say I wanted to, I could say, oh, I like that, but
let's do one quick one.
Yes.
Let's do a content strategy. Okay. And then because Jaquila asked the grid thing, so I'm going to do really quickly, like off the content strategy that Chat GPT gives us, how to do it in the grid and how to basically download that grid. Oh, perfect. And she's coming on.
Okay. And so do we want to ask for a content strategy for something specific? Because if you wanted to, if you did, I want to do a content strategy for my new community, or I want to do a content strategy.
Let's do a content strategy for IG. Oh, and Jaquila, do you have a question? Because I know you're on here.
Hi, I'm Jaquila. Listen, this was just so good because my husband's been trying to get me to use Chat GPT. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. So when I saw this, I'm like, I have to get on. My social media has just been dead. So I was trying to figure out how to do that grid thing that you did. And I was like stuck right there. But I'm listening to everything and I'm like I just want to get my social media back and active so I can start getting coaching customers again and growing my group again. Like I took a long break and now I'm trying to get back into it.
I would say, okay, so Alexys, take
Mhm.
Jaquila through the content, and then I'll take her through the grid and how to make that work for her.
So I'm gonna hop over here, right? And so if I were you, I would tell Chat GPT kind of like you just told us, and you'd say, what kind of coach are you?
Productivity coach.
Okay. So I'd say I'm a productivity coach. Sometimes typing and spelling. I have to pause for a second, but I'm a productivity coach who hasn't posted consistently on my social media pages in a while. Can you help me develop a content strategy? Because that's what we're working on next, right? A content strategy that will engage my followers and help me get more paying clients. And then what would you describe your style as a coach as? How would you describe that? And maybe who your ideal client is?
My ideal client are mompreneurs in the 30 to 40 range. We all have kids. We're all mostly just trying to figure out how to do this thing without going back to work. We want to do our own thing and raise our own kids, if that makes sense. I'm kind of hands off. Like, I want to see how you do it. I want to give you advice, and then I want to let you work through it. Like, I don't want to give you the answer. I want you to figure it out, because I feel like if I give the answer, then they're not gonna do it the right way. They're gonna do it when they figure it out themselves.
Would you say you're direct? Would you say you're
very direct?
Okay.
I'm a boy mom, so you just gotta put it out there, say what you mean, and mean what you say.
Right. So I'm direct. And do your clients appreciate that directness, or do your clients kind of hesitate with it?
Most of the feedback I get, they've always said, I love how direct you are. Instead of coddling me, you kind of just put it right out there and made me get straight to work.
Right. And so it's going to give you some ideas here, right? So
yep, Nicole says, I definitely need to try this out. Because now I'm like going to the feed, and then I have Tracy saying, this is an amazing tool.
The tool is amazing. I agree. And so it has some very specific things that are kind of catered to what you do as a productivity coach. But if this were me and I was asking Chat GPT about this, I would also say, this is great. Could I get some more specifics?
Yeah, can you say this is great? Can I get a up to 6 content ideas from this?
Yep.
Because then we can articulate that in the grid.
I'd say I'm going to bump it to 9, because when you're looking on your phone, you can see 9 things at a time.
Alexys, I want to respect your time. Do you have a little bit of extra time that we can go over? Because I know we have an hour.
What time are we at? What time are we at?
We are at 1:30.
Okay, so I can give you about 15, 20 more minutes.
Okay, awesome. I just want to be respectful to your time. Thank you so much for doing this with us and for us.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
And so this is going to give us a few things here. You have your before and after. It's going to tell you to give them some tips, behind the scenes of what you do, testimonials,
okay,
productivity challenge, which is number 6, which is pretty cool.
So let's say, I would say choose, like, when you get this, I guess we can put a document for her.
Yes.
And then I can contact her, or you can contact her and give it to her. So what I would suggest with this one, if we're gonna, because we don't have a lot of time, breaking it down into what they're saying. They want you to do a before and after. So I guess that's kind of like a testimonial that can work in, like a case study. Before, your client was here, now they're here. So that's a case study one. So maybe a picture of your client, the testimonial, maybe the words of their testimonial, and then the caption, the story. So that's one. Let's choose 3. And then, so I would choose top 3 that you really want to emphasize. And usually before and afters are really high converters that you can utilize in your content strategy. And then you have what productivity tips, behind the scenes, more testimonials and product. So we'll do the before and after transformation, the case study. We'll do just one that is, okay, what imagery would be useful in number 6? And you can give me an example. She's gonna go deeper. So this is what Alexys is typing in.
Yes. Can you give me an example of what that would look like? And so if it's like a creative block and you're like, I don't know what I'd put with that, or productivity challenge sounds real basic to me, can you break that down? And so it's, if you ask it to.
Wow, I give the whole caption of like what you would put for that post. I think that's incredible. So boom. So for time's sake, let's say picks 3 to 6, even up to 9 of those items, right, that you want to do. And what I recommend when it comes to like the grid and stuff like that is doing a pattern, right? Whether it's the checkerboard pattern or it's the one-liner, the linear pattern. Those are the 2 that I recommend for us mompreneurs that don't have a lot of time and don't need to overthink design, right? And so let's say that, so I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing your screen. I'm gonna go really quickly. So whoever's watching, they can catch this. I'm gonna go in really quickly in Canva. If I was doing, like I needed to do a grid really quickly and what tool to use. So I'm gonna share my screen. Where's my share screen? All right, so boom, you're here in Canva. You're gonna go ahead and click create design. Sorry, you're gonna go into the custom. You're gonna go custom design. You're gonna go by 30, you're gonna put here 32 by 4, 3240 by 3240. You're gonna create new design. Next, you're gonna go into the file, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna view settings, and you're gonna show viewers and guides, and I have that, and you're gonna add guides. You're gonna do the custom guide. You're gonna go 3 columns, and you're gonna go 3 rows. You're gonna put a 0 here, and you want all these zeros so there's no margin. You're gonna add those guides. Right here, you have your grid, right? So I would choose 2 templates that you really like, and you can like go through here, right? Like that have interest, right? Like this has a lot of stuff going on. I would remove all of this, and then I'll choose one more that has like good interest or good lines, and depending on what type of Canva you're using, you can choose. Or you can even go into kind of like the templates that they have. And what you want to choose is the Instagram post templates, right? The square ones that are 1080 by 1080. And then you can pick one here that has good lines. And I'm going to pick another one that I think is pretty, is a standard one that can help you create like interest within your feed. It's just a go-to one if I can find it. Okay, so this one, right? So I'm going to click on customize. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this. I'm going to delete this. I'm going to delete that. And I'm going to delete. All I want is like those things. I'm going to copy it. And I'm going to go back to where I'm working, which is the grid, right? I'm going to put it in here and I'm going to stretch it out, right? And then I'm going to also put in that extra one. Okay, they're all grids. But I'm also going to put it in this one, and I'm going to put it in, I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to drop it in here, right? So I stretched that one out, and then I'm going to get this one. Sorry, guys. It kind of like made it too big. And then I'm going to click it in here, and I'm going to make sure that I make it a little bit smaller so you can see some of the interest in it, move it around to where I want it, I just have it there for today's tutorial's sake. You can shorten it up, right? The next thing is just adding maybe what do you want to have, a checkerboard or you want to have a linear? You want a checkerboard design?
Checkerboard is fine.
Okay, So basically you want to change all these colors out to your brand color. So the first thing would be get your branding, you know, of what you want of, you know, brand, whatever your brand colors are. So if you have your branding on here, you can change it up and see what you want to do, right? I'm not going to make overcomplicated. So you like the checkerboard?
Yes,
So
I'm on mute because my kids are having a burp
okay, yeah.
competition.
So you just want to go ahead and just checkerboard this out, you know, and if you wanted to, you can make the images a little bit kind of like, you know, like have more interest and everything like that if you wanted to. So you have your checkerboards, and the next thing that you want to do is probably add some of your text, and you can choose here, or you can choose from the templates of the text that you really like. And you can go back to this video and fast forward it. It's going to be in Monetizing Mompreneurs for reference. So you can choose any text in here that you appreciate or like, or that reflects your brand. If you have your own colors, I'm going to go ahead and choose this one and then add some interest in text. And then you can add those however you would like. You can have a white background if you wanted to on that. And then you have kind of like, then you can develop your content strategy of how you want to do that. And, you know, maybe you want to have a square back there because, you know, so the background can be seen a little bit more, right? You know, you can do how-tos, how-to productivity. But you can kind of see how you want your grid, right? So let's say this is really fast, and this is not normally how I design at all. I'm just showing you like a quick guide on what you can do. What you can also do to have more interest in your images is like you can select all of these images that you put there, and you can copy it. You can move it like something like that, and then the bottom image you can change its color, right? So you can have a little bit more interest in it. Just some tip, right? So let's say, you know, we get to a point that you're happy with the design and you want to take it to that next level, right? So I really like these two. I hope Moni captured. So boom, right? So you can kind of see what type of content you want to put a little bit more clearer, right? Okay, so let's say you have a grid like that. This is a grid that you can repeat. You can actually like redo it in like longer ones, so it can attach to your reels, right? Have the cover. You can create your covers with it and stuff like that, right? So let's say that you like this and you want to implement it, and then you develop your content strategy. So you got to decide like what week. So I would do like, this would be 1 week, this would be the second week, this would be the third week, right? Something like that. You can make it that this is 1 day, the second day, the third day. You know, if you're posting 3 times a day, however many times you're posting, you have your outline of what images you want to put there for interest, right? But what I recommend is you align that to your podcast or stuff like that. But anyways, so next, once you have your image, you download it, right? You download it, then you go over to pinetools.com/split image, okay? In here, once you're here, you're gonna go to choose file. For whatever reason, on my big desktop, it's very hard for me to upload images, so I would do this on my laptop. But anyways, I would choose the file, upload it, then I would choose both, because I don't think it'll let me right now. See, if for whatever reason, I don't know why it's not letting me, it never lets me upload images like that. But anyways, if you do it on your computer, it would be different. Go both grid. You're going to put 3, it's going to say horizontally. There's going to be another option to put vertically. And down here is going to say split image. You're going to split that image and boom, you got all your 3, you got your whole grid downloaded. And then you can add your captions and upload it to your social media. And they're all going to be a 1080 by 1080 because the grid size is 32 by 40, which is 1080 times 3. So you got your grid, layout, you got your design, and then you can do more that it actually like can be repeated and stuff like that. I hope this was helpful.
It was helpful for me. That pin block, I need you to send me that.
Yes,
Yeah.
I can send you the templates for you. I'll send you the templates for you guys that you can use it to your leisure. These are going to be some of the things available in the membership when we finally launch. But thank you. So Alexys, can you close us off? Like, when you're using this strategy, what are some of the other tips you would use? And Jaquila, if you have any questions, let us know in the chat.
So when you're implementing strategy that maybe Chat GPT has given you, I want you to remember that you're still in charge here. This is just a tool. So if I were you, I would look at it, go over it, and if something doesn't sound or align with what your brand values are, or it's not really connecting, if you don't feel it, nobody else in your circle is going to feel it, right? And so it's not wrong to either rework it yourself or ask the computer to try to rework it. And it's also your job to make sure that you are tweaking the things so it's actually working for you. So while we're using Chat GPT like an assistant, like our virtual assistant here, we are still going to make sure that we're in charge of this business. And so you don't let the business run off without you. You're still in charge and you're running it. And so again, I'd say use the tools for sure, but be mindful. I would not ever do a straight copy and paste. Always check through and make sure that it sounds like you. And if you haven't kind of honed in on what your tone is, really work on that and kind of figure what that looks like and how that sounds and what you want it to sound like in your copy. So
if one of our audience members or someone was like, man, this was such an amazing podcast episode, I really want to get with Alexys, where can people find you?
You can find me on social media at Balance Branding. You can go to my website, which is actually brandingbalance.com. And my DM is open. You guys can message me on there as well. I do offer one-on-one Chat GPT workshops. So if you have like a product or service that you want to launch and you need some assistance or somebody to help you get through actually making those prompts work for you, I'm available for that as well. And I'll be hosting an in-person workshop where people can kind of do the same thing here in Lakeland, Florida next month.
Oh, that's amazing. I love Florida. I'm actually from Miami. I was born in New York, but I grew up in Miami and graduated high school there. So I miss Florida. I'm in North Carolina now, but oh my God, Alexys.
I love North Carolina too. So we'll have to come visit each other.
Girl, yes. Well, I'm going to go ahead. Thank you everyone for joining us. I'm going to go ahead and hit the stop recording. But if you heard this episode and you liked it, please follow Alexys. She's doing amazing things. And I love this workshop on Chat GPT. It was absolutely amazing. Do I recommend Alexys? Absolutely. Like, get with her. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you have a chance, stop by the website at lindabendable.com. Sign up for the Blog Cure, which is an awesome course that I created that will help you set up your blog or take your blog to the next level. And join us over at Monetizing Mompreneurs Facebook group. I just want to say again, thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening.